Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Yoruus speaking and welcome to the summary video for multiplayer game number 104. Spoiler alert, if you do not want to know how the game went, stop watching this video and go to the first position of the playlist where the actual game starts. The link is in here somewhere. But if you have watched the game already, or you do want to know how the game went, so you can decide if you want to watch the game or not, or just hear a couple of my thoughts after like a week when the game was actually played, then stay a while and listen basically. So in this game, this is a free-for-all game played without atomic bombs, only nuclear missiles and no research agreements. A rule that basically is played so much lately in all the free-for-alls. Firaxis, take notes, no research agreements. The multiplayer and no A-bombs, come on, balance this out already. Anyways, I've got in this game Purify is playing as Cottage, Kleftor playing as Siam, Mr. Singh playing as Russia, Twinson playing as Poland, and Kishumi16 playing as Ottomans, and I rolled Ethiopia in this game. So basically we have crazy civs. I mean, like Russia, very strong civ. I mean, like Russia is so underestimated, but that extra hammers early on is such a huge boost. Is such a huge boost. It's just clearly amazing. Poland, I would say it is the best civ around in here for multiplayer. Most importantly because nobody really wants to fight. When there's like the same level of players, everybody's so reluctant to go to war with somebody because they will just get behind and more behind with the players against the players that actually didn't go to war. So basically wars start after maybe crossbows, well, artillery very rarely, but usually like infantry, bombers, nukes and stuff like that. And Poland is that civ that has theoretically a normal start, but after Renaissance era it's just like this, boom, it goes like boom. I mean, like if you time it right, you get two social policies into rationalism. Between rationalism and industrialization, there's not really that far to go through. And I'm gonna Mika, my kid is going crazy. I have no idea what's up with that. So between Renaissance and industrial era, there's not that much space to go. So basically Poland has all the crucial rationalist texts very fast, and from there they still have so much more social policies left, and the free social policies left, that they can fill out a lot of trees so much faster, or they can just fill out the trees that are really needed without the need of actually investing in the culture, which is quite strong. Siam, very strong, very strong. If you can ally city-states, it's like amazingly cool civ. Cottage, yep, not bad, not bad. I like that extra trade route. I'm like that extra connection instantly when you plant cities on coast is really neat. Ottomans, if you're on coast and you intend to go navy, then definitely paying only 1/3 on units maintenance is quite cool as well. Janissary is still very underestimated unit and is very good. And I rolled Ethiopia. Now Ethiopia is a, how to say it, Ethiopia is a sneaky civ a little bit, because from one side you've got the unique ability where you kind of want to settle a little amount of cities, and on the other side you have steel, which actually says like, come on, settle more cities so you can build more steels and come get that extra fate. It's just, that building is so great. Like from that one building you can get 20, if you have 10 cities, it's 20 fate, right? Something that none other civ can get. Alright, so let's go to the starting location. Well, I moved just a tiny little bit around. Now the problem with this starting location is, well, there's several problems with the starting location. I started in here, and I didn't want to go on the coast since there's like Purify and Shumi on the coast, which means Carthage, definitely a coastal civ, and Shumi who is known for not really going into space, just he prefers domination victory. So definitely if I would settle on the coast, I would had a visit from either battleships or frigates or missile cruisers or anything like that. So I really didn't want to get my capital on the coast, so I would not have to be forced to build up fleet. Now you would say like, okay, but you can't really defend against nukes if you don't have fleet. Yes, that's true, but that's a risk I am willing most of the time to take, because if you have like three cities on the coast, like three capitals on the coast and three capitals not on the coast, now you have a decision, right? Either you try to get into the group on the coast and fight for the sea domination, or you want to go on the land and fight only on the land, theoretically, right? Because first of all, you'll have to deal the people on the land. So now, between those two options, I most of the time pick the land, because investing into navy most of the times slows you down so much compared to the people who go just straight out science and focus on land army, that while you actually get the navy, you cannot really do much with it, because the other people already have planes and stuff like that. They don't really settle on the coast, so you only have to fight with the people on the coast. But on the other hand, you don't have anything to do about the people on the land, and you don't really have that advantage. So it's not always like this. Those two options are not always balanced out that much. But in this particular option, since there was like not really get that good stuff, well, basically the coastal position was not looking that good, and I actually had the river and I saw jungle, I decided to move south and just walk around a little bit of a couple of turns and settle in here. Now you're probably asking, why didn't you settle on a mountain? Now I did not settle on a mountain for several reasons. Now the reason number one is I would not like to lose the jungle. That's the first reason. Second reason, I would be stepping away from the silver. I would be stepping away for a lot of jungle stuff that I said in here. I will be stepping away from a lot of river tiles that I will be able to farm much more. Now I didn't have the vision what's on the other side of the mountain. That could be more mountains, then could be useless tiles. So basically I want to keep as much useful tiles in my capital as possible. So I actually decided to plant in here. I would not need to chop the jungle from the silk, so that's jungle, that's a lot of jungle in here. Yes, I'm missing the mountain. Is that actually that important? It's really hard to tell. Would that mountain would be beneficial if I would like settle in here or in here, and I would be working the tiles that I would have available like this? That's really hard to tell, because that's like very optional basically. So we need to do a lot of mathematics behind it, but I actually decided to plant in here, and I was able to fit in 2 more cities before I was basically landlocked. I decided to go to city and sea, and later on I was thinking about planting a city in here, but eventually I decided to plant a city somewhere around this parts. There is copper in here. Now you're probably asking, okay, there's wood in here and you could probably take it. Well, yes and no. Basically the problem right now with the game, I don't know how to call it, the meta game right now is simply just like that. Then when you go into a free-for-all game, there's almost always that one guy who is at peace, or 2 people that are at peace. So going early war most of the time puts you so far behind the development, you can't really catch up later on in the game. I had a game recently where I was playing Rome. I hope I will be able to upload it as well, where I actually went to war early on. Yes, I took my opponent, but, well, cover your ears. Well, this is a spoiler video, so if you're gonna get I'm gonna spoil that game if I ever gonna upload it, but I'm gonna spoil it anyways at the start of the game, so don't worry about it. Anyways, I attacked a player, I took him down, but I was not able to catch up. It was like I was not able to catch up. So there's really that early aggression. There has to be a lot of circumstances so it's able to work out correctly, and you can't really tell what's gonna happen on the other side of the map. Are the other people's going to fight? Maybe they have a slow start. Maybe they're gonna miss a couple of wonders. Well, that's really situational. So I definitely didn't want to go kill Wuj. I thought that it would be much more beneficial to just focus on development in here and go on and see, and then plant a third city and just sit in here and relax and absolutely do not do nothing. Theoretically, Wuj is like, I don't know how much, 15 tiles from his capital or something like that, but I didn't really care about that much. That city would not help me out too much. I didn't have too many luxuries, so another extra city in here would probably only slow me down and would put me with borders with more players like Mr. Singh maybe. Basically I would have to have an option to reinforce in this side. While I was sitting in here, I had Cleftor in the south. Oh, come on, kitty, what's up with you? My cat is going crazy today. So I had Cleftor in here, so there's no problems theoretically. I was hoping to snatch this city spot from him. It would have 5 fish, but as soon as I saw that he got population ruins, I think he got 2 population ruins, so I knew I can't really compete with a settler, but building up a settler and getting that on the spot with him, so I didn't even try. I went right away in here. So the land is not looking that great. I thought that this will be more than enough to make something happen for the late game. So it's not doing that bad. I'm like, this is my empire. I'm showing you off turn 100, so you basically have the comparison to other games, how they look like, and this one is really not bad. Now I'm in a setup between Cleftor and Poland and with Twinsen, and there's like, the map is divided into 2 sides basically. On the west side there's Poland, Twinsen, then south of Poland there's Mr. Singh. They're both inland. I'm in the middle with Cleftor. Cleftor is right to my south. We're both on 3 cities, me and Cleftor. So also have like well, Cleftor has 2 coastal cities, but on the other side of the coast, and I got 1 coastal city. Now on the other side there's Purify in the north and Shumi in the south, both coastal empires. So it's like coastal empires, land empires. Am I looking at this side, land empires, this side coastal empires, and in the middle me and Cleftor. So I was like thinking, okay, the best way to do something in this game is, since I knew my science is not bad, is like be like in the shadows. Try to not be first at anything. Try to not have any sort of like number 1 military, number 1 production, number 1 food, number 1 science, nothing. Help out Cleftor a little bit because he would, he would probably be the first target as usual. And just maybe, I can sneak in a science victory, because comparing like the production in around the game and the gold, I knew I cannot compete like with hammers, so military option for me is not possible. The only way I can win this game is either sneak in a diplomatic victory, which would be really hard concerning Siam and Poland and everybody basically with tons of gold, or I go to space. So I was definitely from turn 100 planning to be like second in science, at least second in science, wait for the moment when people will bulb to like information era and so on and so forth. So I will bulb the second and then try to go to space while everybody else going to war each other. Okay, 66 turns later. Now, we're probably asking, okay, Yoruus, what happened in those 66 turns? The answer is nothing. Absolutely nothing. Everybody was sim-sitting like crazy. There was like only a tiny little moment when Purify made a lot of frigates and tried to attack Shumi, but I kind of had the scout somewhere there, so I said to Shumi that he's trying to go there, and Shumi also knew that, so he was prepared, basically no problems in there. So anywhere else what's happening? Cleftor is doing very, very well, and now everybody is basically doing well. Now the funniest part is, as I said, I wanted to be second at science, but somehow nobody, it's turn 166, and nobody bulbed into Hubble telescope. Like, I was leading the science from research labs to the moment where Twinsen finally decided to bulb into Hubble telescope. I was leading the science, which was quite surprising. And nobody was willing to like bulb any single great scientist to get to Hubble telescope or to get, so we were like running around for a lot of turns, theoretically on max science, because research lab was up like ages ago, so you're running around max science and nobody was really going to bulb great scientist. Everybody was waiting on that one guy who takes that first step and uses the great scientists. So finally, the person who break that cold great scientist war was Twinsen. He finally bulbed his scientists into Hubble telescope and he wanted to go to space. Now that put a lot of attention from Mr. Singh, and Mr. Singh, of course, later on everybody was bulbing, basically I was bulbing, Mr. Singh was bulbing, and as I said, I was planning to go for space victory. Now I knew I will only have I will maybe have 4 great engineers, so what I decided to do is I used 3 great engineers real early on boosters, and then try to time like 2 parts, hard build 1 part in my capital, the other part in Harar, and then try to put alright, I will tell it in the next screenshot basically. Okay, so here we are. This is like the last screenshot. Now there were several things in here that happened. Mr. Singh killed Twinsen, paying him off for that ambition of Twinsen that he can go to space. It's actually quite fun. Mr. Singh was like, of course, throughout the course of the game, he's like, I'm so slow, I don't have great scientists, and so on and so forth. It's obviously not true. He was like running around with the map with giant death robots, killing Twinsen. Shumi attacked Cleftor. Cleftor tried to defend a little bit, but that didn't really work out. And in Purify, you can see in here with X comms. So what did I try to do? Well, I tried to sneak in at least a little piece of army and units as much as possible. Oh, and Shumi attacked my coastal city and he took it. I was able to retake it, and actually Shumi like floated away. So he was not trying to be pesky around in here. So what I was trying to do, well, I was trying to basically sneak in that science victory, and I managed it. I managed it next turn, but I could have been stopped. Like, I was lucky basically. I was lucky. One moment, basically Mr. Singh had nukes and I made a huge mistake. I should have probably, when Mr. Singh was attacking Twinsen, I should have probably attacked this city in here and take it, so I would get Mr. Singh out of the range of nukes of my cities, because Mr. Singh took that city. If he would put the nuke in there and he would check out correctly, he could nuke like my great engineer, great scientist, and a science and a part, if I remember correctly. That would slow me down for at least like 20 turns. So everything was like fitting in perfectly, and I managed to launch to space next turn, but still it was lucky because I had to win a fast click against Mr. Singh with his nuke. But I managed it. I managed it, and that worked out correctly. So it was an amazingly cool game. like a very strange game as well, because of that science that nobody really wanted to bulb into late game. But in the end, everything fit in correctly, like the diplomacy, the scheming, the decision making, the luck. Basically every brick fit in correctly to allow me to get a science victory on turn 200 from a position that was basically really bad from the start. I was not optimistic at the start of the game. I really knew that I will have to like be the underdog of this game to be able to win, and eventually it worked out correctly. So I was super happy about it. Thank you for the game, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. I invite you to watch the actual game. If you haven't watched the game, the link is in here. And yeah, basically that's it. So best wishes. Yoruus out.